I like how every time we progress through the story, the background oh my god. Okay, see, the funny thing is, this didn't appear until just now. I only saw this one, and this new wolf. Oh, okay, and then once the fog clears, you see the bear. Welcome back, everyone, to more Tiny Bunny. I'm sorry about that. I just got so distracted by the fact that now we can see two new creatures in the background now of the new menu. And right now, I'm loving where this story is going. I feel bad for Anton, though. Half the times, I kind of wish he can, like, just, you know, do a little bit of a pushback against the bullies, but at the same time, I guess if he did, we wouldn't have an interesting story as we have right now, because we need Anton to be the type of character he is in order for the story to be what it is. But either way, guys, we're currently in the middle of a little bit of a chase sequence, if you want to call it that, and I'll continue on and see what's going on. So yeah, if anything else, thank you all for the love and support. Hope you all continue to enjoy. Let's get right back to it.
Ух, какой ты быстрый!
No, it's Alisa. My first desire was to dash toward her and hug her. I resisted it and squeezed myself even tighter into the pine.
Ты... Что ты здесь делаешь? Да вот,
She was holding that hat I lost.
в бюро находок подрабатываю. Надевай, а то уши замерзнут, а потом, глядишь, и вовсе отвалятся.
I squinted in suspicion and shifted my gaze back and forth between her and the hat, scared that Alisa might be holding a severed head or something even more sinister. But in the end, my hat turned out to be just my hat. Is there anything other option? I guess so. I took it and pulled it over my head.
Тепло?
I didn't reply.
Там во дворе были какие-то дети.
И что, покусали тебя, что ли?
Нет.
А чего же ты убежал?
The answer was obvious, but after rolling the thought on my tongue, I mumbled.
Не знаю.
Эх, обещала не обзывать тебя дурачком. А я обещание исполняю.
She walked up to me and grabbed me by the elbow. I sensed the familiar aroma of mint, oranges, and burnt sparklers. I wanted to lean into Alice to savor the minute details of her smell.
Сколько можно повторять? Со мной ты в безопасности. Я твой друг. И они.
I quickly turned toward the place the fox girl was pointing to. Kids in masks appeared at the clearing. At least they looked like kids since they were all pretty short. A wolf boy, an owl girl, and a bear boy. They all huffed and gasped for air, clearly tired from running around.
Я думала, ты в снег провалился. Стала снег копать, нет тебя.
А я не копал, лень копать было.
I wonder if all these new creatures are the missing people.
А ну как получается? Если дурак, то бегай да копай. А если умный, подожди, пока другие набегаются, накопаются и устанут. И уж тогда заводи разговор.
Как я рад! Дегенерат!
А?
Не обращай внимания, он со странностями.
Oh, he's the weirdo. I stood there stupefied, my mouth agape and my hands dangling helplessly. I had no idea how to react to the words of these late-night guests, but I managed to squeeze out something resembling a smile.
Вы просто меня напугали.
They started looking at each other, and somebody even snorted, as if I said something funny.
Да, да, Лиса права!
Это он.
Нет, это наш.
Неужели нашли?
Наш зайчик.
They want to turn him into one of them, right?
Да-да, похож.
The wolf boy started wagging a part of his costume like it was his tail in excitement.
Ну, конечно, ты первый. Это волчик раньше всех почуял увидел зайчика в тебе и рассказал нам.
Здравствуй.
С нашей совушкой ты знаком не понаслышке. Не такая уж она и страшная, правда?
Да, наверное.
А этот улыбчивый бугай — медвежутка. Ты лучше с ним поласковее, а то голову откусит.
Зачем это?
Да, смотрю, ты и чувство юмора где-то обронил.
Oh, haha. I was still unsure if these peculiar little animals had the best intentions in mind, so I hid my hands behind my back, trying to look away from the gaping holes of their carnival masks. Alisa put her hands to her sides in a theatrical manner and somehow managed to wink with her fox face.
Когда в следующий раз придем, будем звенеть в колокольчики, чтобы ты не так боялся нашего визита.
А у нас разве есть колокольчики?
Чур, я звенеть не буду. У меня лапка болит.
My smile was no longer fake.
О, зубы показал. Это добрый знак. Не ожидала, что сможем тебя рассмешить. Я думала, это под силу только Диснейленду.
Did I tell her about Disneyland? I'm pretty sure I didn't.
Откуда ты знаешь?
Exactly.
Да так, прочитала кое-где.
Про меня?
Про клюв от воробья. Про Диснейленд яхонтовый.
Ты умеешь читать по-человечески?
Зря я, что ли, в школу хожу день ото дня.
And then she sang in a coquettish voice.
Как детей не замечать, как мечты их развенчать. Учат в школе, учат в школе, учат в школе. Крепко-накрепко вломить, с детства слабеньких чморить. Учат в школе, учат в школе, учат в школе.
That was interesting. Unexpected, but not unwelcomed. I let out a cautious laugh. My new acquaintances didn't seem scary anymore. On the contrary, they looked friendly and welcoming. There was something about them that attracted me. Just like this clearing, this moon, and the snowflakes that fell backwards. From the ground to the sky, as if someone was rewinding a tape. The masked kids got close and I felt their touch. They gave me friendly taps, felt my clothes as if checking whether I was real. There was no animalistic malice in their touch, only pure childish curiosity. For some reason, I thought to myself, I can trust them. Snowflakes just kept on floating upwards.
Никто тебя больше не обидит.
Yeah, but I have a feeling they want me to be one of them.
Друг.
Пусть только попробуют.
The fox gave me a slight tug and burst out laughing.
Ну что, Тоша, убежишь с воплями или с нами пойдешь?
Куда?
На аттракционы!
At that moment, Taiga's deceptive silence was broken by the sound of a distant flute. Mesmerizing and alluring, it brought about the ring of crystal glass and the whispers of fresh winter spring. If I had any doubts before, the flute's song shattered the last of them. I started following my new friends before I could even make my decision. My legs carried me of their own will, and the tunnel made of pines stepped apart, bushes bowed in front of our procession. Everything looked dreamlike. Because even the clearing we ended up on, I only saw in my dream. The flute soared up the treetops like some fantastical bird. The snowflakes floated up in a spiral. The moon painted tree branches with silver. Alisa gasped in amazement. I was also in awe. I tilted my head backwards as far as I could.
О, красиво как.
Очень красиво.
Это мелочи. Я покажу гораздо больше, если захочешь.
I did want. I wanted to see what the fox girl saw with her eyes, hidden in the semi-dark of her cape. Now I didn't feel weird about these masked kids. I felt weird for being the only one without a mask. Oh no, this is how it starts. I felt like I was naked in the January winds.
Скажите, а зачем вам маски?
I was trembling, but I wasn't scared. My trembling wasn't caused by the code. It originated from the peculiar anxiousness, the anticipation of something amazing.
А тебе зачем?
I touched my coat
Но
cheek.
я без маски.
человеческие сказки.
Человеческие ласки?
Человеческие дрязги.
Я же говорила, все жители поселка носят маски.
So that is a mask. Although, I don't know anymore. It's kind of weird.
Только скрываются за ними отнюдь не люди.
That's what I expected, yes.
И даже я?
Ты такой рассеянный, Антон.
Однажды мы уже нашли твои очки.
И шапку. И твое настоящее лицо.
I looked at the mask the fox was holding out to me. The bunny mask that looked like a silver ingot under the moonlight. I was curious to see the world through its slits. So I'm guessing there's no other choice, huh? I can't not take it, huh? I'm trying to see. No, there really isn't any other choice. I guess I'm putting it on. Again. Suddenly, fighting its way through the flute's melody, a thought came to me. The glasses they found were in Semyon's possession. Exactly. My new acquaintances must have known what happened to him, or even worse.
А куда подевался Семен? Что с ним стало? И с остальными детьми?
The bear and the owl looked at each other. The wolf boy curled into a ball, and the fox lowered the pointy nose of her mask.
Тот, кого держали в клетке.
Тот, кто режет мелко-мелко. Тот, кто носит кожаное лицо, забрал их.
Умел бы я креститься, перекрестился бы.
Хотите сказать, это был человек?
Чем ты только слушал? Разве можно назвать такого, как он, человеком?
Одно слово — взрослый.
В мире взрослых так легко потеряться.
Убийцы, жестокие дрессировщики и равнодушные родители. Лучше об этом вовсе не думать, чтобы не грустить.
But I'd like to know what happened to them.
Не знаю, как вам, а мне печалиться совсем не хочется.
И я сегодня какой-то не грустный. Антон, а ты?
А?
I was lost in thought, staring at the pines, trying to pinpoint the location of the flute. I was sure that the person who played it was standing right behind the piney stockade. Someone tall, going over the holes in the flute with their long fingers.
Так что, сядем тосковать или займемся отдыхом?
I just like to know what's going on.
Алиса хотела что-то показать.
Давай начнем с самой сладкой части программы.
The fox girl took out a handful of candy from her pocket and handed them to each of the kids. Cover shuffled. The smell of pineapple, cocoa, and melon wafted through the air. The last treat, a chocolate-covered waffle candy, Alisa put right into my mouth. My tongue was engulfed with spiciness. Chocolate's not supposed to be spicy. I felt like my body was covered in fur. Small sparks were running along it. I chewed on the waffle and the chocolate gulped them down, enjoying the vivid taste.
Спасибо.
My gratitude was barely audible because my lips were already touching the insides of a mask. I didn't even notice how I put it against my face. The papier-mâché was warm. The mask stuck to my skin, giving it a nice prickle. The kind when you dive into a hot bath after being outside in winter. When you lie there and purr from the soapy water.
Говорила же, это твое!
Мое!
Чего стоим? За нас веселиться никто не будет.
И то верно.
The melody kept swirling in the field like a hurricane. I couldn't wait to release the energy, the heat that this enchanting music was filling me with. The owl jumped and disappeared into the sky. I heard her laughter from somewhere above, and then she landed back, huffing and sighing.
Ты так можешь. Попробуй.
I followed suit. What the hell? I like how there's sudden color now. My feet tore from the ground. I flew toward the stars like a rocket and screamed from happiness after seeing my friends down below. The wind helped me fly. It felt like I was jumping on a huge trampoline. The stars looked like vivid sparkles that I could reach like and lick it up. The moon also got closer, and then I plunged. I got scared that I'd break my legs for a moment, but my soles landed softly on the ground, and I regained my balance.
С нами ты в безопасности! И все твои мечты станут явью! Я так счастлива наконец обрести тебя! Зайчик!
In a fit of merry laughter, I realized the most important thing. These four are not a threat. My real enemies, and I felt that with every single hair in my mask, were those who knew nothing about magic. Humans from the village. I also realized how alive my surroundings had become. I heard the dry grass and then the snow moan. I saw faces of the trees and the stars. The trees were smirking and the stars were grimacing in fear. That's right, be scared. I'll jump up to you and... I snapped my teeth, then let out a jubilant laugh, jumping along with the fox. Look at that color. We flew higher than the tallest pines and stayed in the air. I swirled. Alisa followed my rhythm. I knew that she was smiling, so I smiled too. And the flute just kept on playing, carrying us higher and higher.
Эй, тебя что, заколдовали?
That someone is standing next to me. I thought, trying to unglue my chin from the desk. My muscles felt slightly sore, but that feeling was pleasant. The whole class was wandering about for some reason, whispering and passing notes to each other. Their faces looked like a discolored mask to me, bleak and boring. I yawned, remembering the time I was soaring high above the forest with Alisa by my side, laughing and squeezing my hand. Probably, it was all just a dream. Because I didn't walk back from the forest, just woke up in a bed on a normal morning with tea and medicine. Still, I was hardly worried about trying to find a rational explanation for my night dance. That feeling of flight was much more important. The knowledge of how it feels to be hanging in the air above the treetops of majestic pines and baring my teeth at the moon.
Прости, задумался.
Слышал уже про Катю?
А?
Oh no. The least of my worries, even though, yes, realistically, that would suck. But, she's been a pain in the neck lately. I glanced at the empty seat in front of me.
Катя пропала.
I think this whole thing is trying to get Anton to slowly, join the are they children? Join Alisa and her group and turn him into a complete bunny or something. I think it's a slow transition, if anything. I thought it was going to be immediate. I thought the chocolate was like the thing that will allow him to transform along with the mask. And I think it is. What I do like, though, is how it added color and made things more vivid and lively for Anton the moment he, became the bunny and started having fun. At the same time, I'm still wary. I don't know if that's the right call for him to make, though. Even though the world he's in is black and white, it's still something to be skeptical or at least a little cautious about. My sleepiness was gone in an instant. I frowned in suspicion.
Как пропала? Быть не может.
Another one. Katya Smirnova, 12 years old, grade 6, was last seen during the day on January 16 at a schoolyard. Wears a strawberry themed scrunchie if anybody's seen any information. You examined all the objects in... Oh, episode 3. Episode 4. Stomp your hooves and wait.
Я сама не поверила, но Лилия Павловна на работу не вышла. Контрольная отменяется.
I remembered Katya. She was both beautiful and mean. Katya, the first girl in our class whose body started maturing, to the envy of all the other female students. The main source of gossip, a snake, and a bitch. I continued scribbling in my notebook, drawings of rows of pines and two small figures, flying between the treetops and the full moon. Shivers ran up my shoulders, sneaking playfully under the hem of my shirt. Even though soaring through the sky felt so simple, there was still something evil weighing me down. The culprit was definitely still in the village. They were hiding something horrible under a mask of piousness.
А что ты рисуешь?
Embarrassed, I covered the notebook as if there was something shameful about the figures above the
Да
forest.
ничего, так, дурака валяю.
Paulina put her elbows in the desk. I'd already forgotten how light and graceful she was, just like a violin. I wish she could also jump around with us, after stripping away our mask of fake mundanity. I smiled, imagining Paulina's skirt flapping in the wind, the stars sparkling all around us, her asking in bewilderment whether it's all a dream, and myself telling her that it doesn't matter. Paulina's expression grew dark again.
Ужасно еще и то, что Катю мне жалеть сложно. Я правда ищу в себе сострадание, но вспоминаю ее поступки и...
Paulina shook her head.
Я чудовище, да?
Look at his It's kind of like my face when I heard, oh no, she's missing. No, I thought, you're one of the most beautiful girls I've ever met. I decided not to say that out loud.
Плохо, наверное, что исчезновение анкеты расстроило меня больше, чем пропажа одноклассницы.
Ты потеряла анкету?
Да, и кто-то сейчас читает чужие секреты.
It's probably Alisa. That's how she knew about Disneyland. That's the first thing I thought of when she mentioned it too. I was like, did she get the questionnaire? Yes, the forest. I thought, imagining the crooked branches turning notebook pages, touching the childish handwriting with their icy twigs.
Надеюсь, ее найдут.
I was unsure whether she spoke about Katya or her notebook. I wanted to ask her about it, but then I noticed Paulina's intense stare directed at me.
Что?
Ты будто изменился.
I figured she was gonna say that. I smoothed my hair, flat, surprised.
Просто не выспался.
Сегодня ты точно какая-то другая мелодия. Очень древняя, таинственная.
I thought about the flute's melody streaming between the bushy treetops.
Надеюсь, ты никому не рассказал про наш вчерашний разговор?
Что ты?
Who would he tell? She nodded as if acknowledging that she can fully trust me. I wasn't sure whether I merited such trust. Her hair cascaded down around her shoulders. The smell was so wonderful that it sent me flying toward the glowing stars of my inner cosmos without any magic. Kid's a poet too, apparently. Oh, you're next. You're next. His name is Biasha, right? At that moment, I felt Biasha's piercing stare. He was clearly watching us. I took my glasses off so I wouldn't be able to see his nasty smirk. Yet a picture of Ramka's knife gleamed before my mind's eye. My palms became sweaty.
Опять уснул?
Полина,
Tell her, a voice in my head whispered to me. And to hell with the consequences.
кажется, Ромка на тебя глаз положил.
Думаешь, я не знаю?
Откуда?
Считай, это моя интуиция. Только вот Пятифанов мне безразличен.
That wonderful news made me more confident.
Мне кажется, ему не хватит мозгов, чтобы завоевать тебя.
Paulina flashed me an alluring smile.
Хорошо, что у меня есть ты. А может, погуляем после уроков? Дедушка чувствует себя лучше. Я могу задержаться вечером.
I signed my death sentence when I replied.
Конечно, давай.
Тогда до встречи.
Ah, the things you do for a girl, right? You know what? Worth it. Go for it. She leaned forward and looked at me with piercing eyes again, then mumbled as if guessing.
Что-то из мусорского? Нет, пожалуй.
She left, and in her place, Ramka's underling started drilling me with his eyes. His thumb slid under his Adam's apple as if saying, "You're dead." I'm putting you through the forest too, sir. I want you missing. The bell rang. The rest of the classes flew by, and I was finally able to leave the school. Small whirlwinds rushed across the schoolyard like spinning tops. Big white flakes fell from the sky. Streetlights gleamed in the semi-dark. Their shine crystallized and the code became firm and pointy. A dog whined in the distance, making me think of poor Zoka. Paulina stood at the school steps. The wind played with her hair.
Я уже отвык от городского шума. Здесь всегда так тихо.
О, а я мечтаю о какофонии.
А чем?
My companion burst out laughing.
Какофония — это случайное сочетание звуков. Дедушка учит находить мелодию во всем.
Он, наверное, классный.
Не то слово. Скоро я вас познакомлю.
Ты меня в гости приглашаешь?
А ты против?
A nasty whistle swept across the yard, interrupting me. Two silhouettes materialized from the snowfall, hands inside their pockets and heads kept low. The way that tough duo walked towards us didn't bode well for me.
А ну руки убрал от нее, живо! Полин, ты как? Он тебя не тронул?
Мы все видели, на!
Видели что?
Что ты ее в лес вести собрался, психопат! Как Катьку!
В последний момент успели, на!
Paulina's frustrated voice flew across the yard like a bird.
Да что вы мелите?
А ты не в курсе? Как только этот чепушила сюда переехал, сразу народ стал пропадать.
Ага, я вот сам видел, как он вчера Катю провожать вызвался и в лес уволок.
I tried to retort.
Врешь! Я эту Катьку терпеть не мог!
Ха, вот потому ее и грохнул.
Все сходится, на!
I was taken aback by this injustice. The only positive here was the fact that Ramka and Biasha have made for terrible actors. Their lives are C at best if I were to rate them.
Повезло тебе, что мы с ментами не икшаемся. А то бы с радостью тебя, маньяка, сдали.
Ничего, ничего! Ща проведем с ним воспитательную беседу, на! Держи его!
Ramka moved towards me, smirking.
Значит, Катя тебе не нравилась, да? Конечно, кто еще мог ее порешить?
Ты, например.
I looked at Paulina in amazement. Ramka froze in place with his fists raised.
В смысле?
Катя, при всем уважении, никого не любила. Думаешь, Рома, она про тебя сплетни не распускала? Что твой отец в тюрьме сидел, что он тебя бьет?
Oh, well, that does explain a lot. Ramka's face turned red and he started flapping his lips like a fish out of water. Paulina continued speaking in a voice that rang with anger.
А ты, Бяша, сам-то где вчера вечером пропадал? Катя говорила, что ты с приветом стал, как на черный гараж наткнулся.
Biasha retreated. His face became deathly white in the cavity of his hood.
Так может, это ты тот психопат, что Катю украл?
Wow, he became a little chicken. Biasha let out a voice that almost turned into a squeal. Then he turned around and wobbled his way toward the gate, shaking his head. Wow, I thought, she dealt with Biasha so easily.
Что, один остался, Ромео недоделанный? Какую еще гнусность выдумаешь, чтобы меня удивить?
Rama gulped, clearly discouraged.
Цирк устроить хотел? Героем представиться? Только вот не ведут себя так герои.
Yeah, they also don't stab people.
И актер ты, Рома, липовый.
Да этот очкарик.
Во всем лучше тебя.
She said that and did the most astonishing thing. She grabbed my hand.
Пойдем, Антон.
We passed stunned Ramka. I felt somewhat bad for him, but I also obviously felt immense joy. He didn't stop us, just stood there and stared into the growing blizzard. When we crossed the gates, I jumped up and exclaimed.
Как ты его?
Paulina flashed me an embarrassed smile.
Ну знаешь, как дедушка говорит, с волками жить, по волчьи.
Он у тебя философ.
Краевед. Был раньше. Он уже давно на пенсии, а в последнее время ему серьезно не здоровится.
I gave her an empathetic nod. I kept sneaking glances at Paulina. She was like a precious gem, its sides gleaming, shimmering, changing ever so slightly. What? Her eyes full of innocent laughter asked me. Nothing, I replied without speaking. You know, this would have been a lot helpful in the first encounter before I got my ass kicked, but okay.
Ты храбрый. Мне нравится.
Храбрый? Стоял там, язык проглотив.
Но стоял же, не сбежал. Я до сих пор поражаюсь, как ты нашел в себе смелость послать, а тем более ударить Бабурина.
Ради тебя я готов на многое.
Вот, я же говорю. Изъясняешься словами из романов. Ради тебя, моя госпожа.
Paulina started giggling. I fake pouted, but couldn't keep myself from laughing in the end. The village looked abandoned, desolate. Rickety fences, ravines full of garbage. This place probably looks nice in the summer since it's full of greenery, but during winter, under the icy crust under the snowy blanket, dogs barked and clanged their chains behind fences, but they grew quiet the moment we reached the next house.
Представь, что это призраки цепями звенят.
О, а я обожаю сказки про призраков. Дедушка часто мне их рассказывает.
She stopped in front of a small but cozy-looking house with a snow-covered roof, then put her hand on the small gate. Her eyes piercing me as if trying to peek into the depths of my soul.
Вот я все вспоминаю дедушку. Говорю, какой он хороший, заботливый, умный. Но это тут последнее время он немного
She paused, searching for the right words.
чудной. Да, пожалуй. Стал таким с годами. Так что ничему не удивляйся.
Так точно, ничему не удивляться.
Вольно!
We walked toward the house on a thin, clean path. Paulina unlocked the door. The long hallway was full of shadows. The door slammed shut behind our backs, cutting us off from the roaring wind and all the outside sounds. The place became so silent that I could hear Paulina's heart beating. I wanted to cover it with my hand and feel it with my palm, with my lifelines.
Ты всегда так застываешь?